I'm really excited about AI and development. I think that the fact that there is a need for development then makes AI even that more exciting for us to be applying.
I'm very passionate about AI education in Africa, and I think that the AI agenda could there's a lot of, there's no talent, Africa talent. We are planning to democratize artificial intelligence for Africa, but certainly in Nigeria, in Lagos.
I think that we are at an early stage of determining how we want to use AI. And in some ways that's really good because the rest of the world has shown us or has allowed us to see some of the pitfalls, some of the major problems that we're going to encounter as we develop AI.
As Africa, I think we're in an interesting position in that when we're trying to look at AI and how it can actually be used, one of the things that becomes important is also demystifying it for the public and decision makers.
One person I've forgotten to thank, and that's Monica Croppe, who is working with us in Knowledge.
So artificial intelligence is a tool, and we must always think of it in that way. It's very important we don't get confused by thinking of it as somehow taking over. It's a tool, it's a very sophisticated tool. It's also making us rethink who we are as human beings, which is, I think, also very useful for humanity and very positive.
I think development is the challenge. Development is the problem. So we are looking at how we can use various tools, including machine learning, to directly address development problems.
I think AI has a really big role to play in development, but we need to bring AI into the developing countries and transitioning countries to make a difference on the ground. So it's not about us making up solutions in the West, but it's about developing solutions here locally.
AI for development in the context of Africa needs to be an initiative that begins by identifying what are Africa's real problems on the ground.
Yeah, I think language is like the first thing which we need to crack. So I'd say let's unlock language and then unlock Africa.
For me, the biggest thing will be in the area of health. Where we can automate a lot of health delivery system in the continent. Because today, if you look at it, we cannot raise sufficient doctors to address our problems. So how do we automate the diagnosis, investigative process using AI? How will robots be more available to guide the process, especially when it has to do with life, where error cannot be allowed?
I would like to, which we try to work with, a portable system which consists on a powerful computer connected to a powerful portable sequencing machine that you can use in the field. These will contain all the data sets and all the databases to which people can compare. So anytime there is an outbreak of any unknown disease, you can immediately identify these pathogens being new, old, or mutated on the spot.
Perhaps the one I would focus on most is education, where I believe AI can enhance the educational provision and experience of countless people across the globe, because it can enable access to high quality education for the masses.
Tony Blair said in 1997, education, 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 because that's the foundation. Probably, I think maybe one area that that is being underestimated is, the issue of, geopolitics, because geopolitics and geoeconomics, go hand in hand.
I would like to see us using machine learning to solve really difficult problems that will assist people like social scientists to make our countries more governable, more accountable and transparent and things like that.
If given unlimited resources, because I have a center that I'm managing, I would wish to get more industry players to give us problem sets or data set that students can use for their thesis work.
If I could have AI solve any problems, it would be getting products to international markets. So a lot of agriculture in Africa is wasted because for a variety of reasons, and I know a lot of those are structural, and AI is obviously not going to solve all of them. But somehow, if we could use AI to help the distribution systems, the analysis of all of the data that is required or that is generated, that impacts how products are moved around.
So artificial intelligence for me is a meaningful and symbolic combination of machine and man to solve local problems. In this regard, if you look at emerging markets where there are a lot of infrastructural gaps, AI has come as an enabler to provide platform that does not exist and actually enable the continent to address a lot of infrastructural shortages.
But what I would really love to see is a pipeline from fundamental research in Africa to applied research, considering aspects of ethics and society, and finally with the pipeline running through all the way through to commercialization, so that we can be training academics, we can be educating society in general, we can be starting startups and improving the way that large corporates and governments work across the continent.
I think it's rather interesting the way you put it, how AI is powering development and how development is using AI. I think it's both ways. But at the heart of the issue is people, and we have to be cognizant that there is a significant digital divide in this world, and there are a lot of people who are still not online.
The AI has huge potentials and huge risks for development. AI creates a new opportunities and new challenges. The key issue is that in the many of the conditions, many of the requirements for inclusive AI deployment in the Global South are missing, and this can generate even greater inequalities in the future.
Well, the Blue Sky Project is really ensuring that Africans can fully contribute to and participate in and benefit from potential opportunities in artificial intelligence, as well as in global discussions and in local discussions about how to mitigate the risks. So the Blue Sky Project is building the capacity of institutions on the ground in Africa to participate.
How I see the future is that the human rights respecting countries or the community of democracies, need to be defining that the ownership of data, like investment in special data infrastructure, but also identifying core sectors where AI should land.
My Blue Sky project in AI4Africa would be an activity that helps Africa deal with its health challenges. Something that helps us to both predict and manage medical conditions, especially epidemics.
What I will start doing is scaling up many of the numerous pilots that have happened in Africa in the last years. There has been very successful pilots conducted at small scale because the support and the funding for those pilots was small. But technology has been developed and has been proved to be useful for many things.
Because in Africa, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. So thanks to AI4 Development for this session, because it allows us to share best practices and learning on how we can scale up and accelerate our drive to apply AI4 Development.
So the future is positive.
Thank you very much.